This is Cruise Control.
Your on-air automotive magazine with co-hosts Fred Staab and Les Jackson. Everything you need to know about new and used cars. Industry news. We'll fix or repair your car on the air. Fasten your seatbelts and let us take the wheel. Now, your ride is about to begin. Because you're on Cruise Control. Cruise Control. Cruise Control.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. It is Fred Staab and Les Jackson. Les, how you doing?
Hey, great, Fred. How about you?
I'm not doing too bad. Of course, we had a little bit of an earthquake in this neck of the woods.
Yes, indeed. Well, you need the excitement.
A little bit of shaking, but nothing broke. And good news is nobody's hurt or anything like that.
That's good.
So that's good. But we've got a great show for you, plenty of automotive news. And we're starting with this story. Plans change. Ford gives an update to its plan to slow down on a compact electric pickup and three-row SUV. But the new factories continue to be built.
Yes, indeed. That's good news. I mean, when you look at the whole thing. And over at Mercedes, they say that it's their gas-powered S-Class flagship will stick around at least until 2033. But we'll get plenty of updates. So that's kind of neat.
Yeah, that's great news. And also, the good news is car crash-related fatalities were down in 2023, but there's still a lot of work to be done. And we'll talk about what some of the plans for that are.
Yep, it's about time they started coming down after 4 years of going up. Range Rover reveals its Stealth Pack. So we'll tell you what that is.
Yeah. And interesting article I found, Les. Will the Grand Tour continue, but without its original three hosts? And we'll kick that around. If that's true or not, is that a good idea? What do you think?
I don't know how you can, come after an act like that. So I don't know.
I don't know either, but we will talk about that on Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. And then later on, we'll talk a little bit about Fisker and what's going on with Fisker, and it's not good news for sure.
Not great. We've got our fingers crossed.
We do, and I think he's had some rough times in the past too as well. So we'll talk about that, and interesting news from Tesla as well. So also got pricing on the Forester, the new Forester from Subaru, a popular model. So
a lot of stuff going on, and it'll continue because the auto industry is, I guess it's always in a state of flux.
Yeah, it's in a state of flux. And when we come back, we're going to tell you about Ford changing up its EV plans, but it's still going ahead with building some big factories. We'll kick that around when we come back on Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Stay tuned, because we're just getting started.
Cruise Control.
Welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Fred and I are going to start off the hour with word at Ford.
Yep.
As Fred said initially, they're investing in a broad set of EV programs and building more factories, which is always good news in the auto industry because it means jobs, it means product. One is at Tennessee. One's at Ohio. That's an expansion in Ohio. And Oakville, Ontario. Cool stuff. Now, they're not telling us a whole lot about what's going on at the factories, but we'll parse it out.
Yeah, we'll parse it out. And Les, it's one is called Blue Oval City, which is going to
Right.
be one of their big electric vehicle centers. But here's the interesting thing: they have to now kind of play it both ways, both sides of the car. They are still building these plants, which take a long time to build. And there's a plant at Avon Lake, which is going to build Ford Pro electric commercial vehicles. And then there's the Blue Oval City plant that would build electric vehicles. Blue Oval City will be in Tennessee. But they also announced there's going to be more hybrids, and then they have a Skunk Works team in California to make their electric vehicles profitable, because they're losing $36,000 per electric vehicle right now.
Yeah. See, that's not making money.
No. What incredible business acumen.
Thank you. But they also at the Blue Oval SK Joint Venture battery plant in Tennessee. You know, that's important because you got to make your own batteries.
Yeah.
To do this effectively and somewhat economically. Yeah, so they're investing a lot of money because they know what they need to do as the future unfolds. But at the same time, you know, you got to make products that make money.
Yes. So they are holding off on their compact electric pickup and their 3-row SUV, and then they are going to kind of reassess, try to make vehicles that are more affordable. Interesting thing is, Les, with the Mach-E, that they've cut the price on this, and sales have skyrocketed. That's the thing. That's why people will.
Yeah.
They can't pay for them at the price point that they are now. And so once they reduce the price, the sales start to happen. You know, it's as I said, as I always say, these early electric cars will look back and like, remember they used to build something like that and it only got 200 miles of range. I think these are still the early days, and somehow I think people got it a little bit wrong. That hey, we're right into electric transition. Not that we're going to continue on with it, and it will grow. But not at the rate they originally thought right off the bat.
That's right. But meanwhile, Ford is expanding all of its hybrid electrics.
Right.
And they say by the end of the decade, the company expects to offer hybrid powertrains across the entire line.
I think they should do that. I think that is the best bet right now.
I agree. It's a hybrid is a great interim transition to full electricity.
Yes, absolutely. And I was reading an interesting thread on the web because a little bit later on in the show, I'm going to have a review of the RAV4 Hybrid Woodland Edition. And, the thought is that there will be a new version of the RAV4 in 2025, an update or maybe even a fully new version. And some were saying, well, will it go all hybrid like the Camry? And some people were like, that's a terrible idea. I don't think it's a terrible idea. I think it's a great idea, actually.
Yeah.
The price will go up.
Well, the price will go up. The question is, if the price goes up too far, then it's kind of a bad idea because you lose an awful lot of your sales. But they're smart enough to know that, and they're good enough to build these things inexpensively. Well,
yep.
Yeah, inexpensively.
Well, when we come back, we will talk more about this, and we'll also talk about Mercedes plans. So stay tuned.
Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Fred Staab and Les Jackson, and we are just tearing it up with some automotive talk. And we're glad you're here, right?
That's right. And Ford, of course, is, the big, well, they're the leader now, aren't they, in electric vehicle sales overall?
No, it's still Tesla. It's still Tesla.
Oh, well, but that's pure electric.
Pure electric, yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot more hybrids. I think you're going
Right.
to see them
Right.
flood in. And the interesting story about this is they were going to kill off the Ford Escape until they said, no, maybe the Escape
Yeah.
would be a good size electric vehicle, affordable electric vehicle.
That's right. It made a great hybrid.
It is a hybrid, and it's a plug-in hybrid, and why not
Yeah.
make it a full electric too? So.
And before the break, you were saying, Ford expects to make its vehicles price competitive and keep the prices down. And then, of course, the next company we're going to talk about is Mercedes with the S-Class, and they make every effort to keep the prices up.
That's
way up.
Yes. Yes. Well, what we're going to talk about here is it's a similar story. Mercedes was touting itself that it was going to go all electric very soon. And, they started building all these different models. The EQS, the all electric sedan that was supposed to take the place of the S-Class. And then that all changed just a few months ago. And now what Mercedes is doing is they're saying they will keep the current S-Class until 2033, the W223 S-Class, but will do plenty of interior enhancements and new styling on the exterior. They're sticking with internal combustion for quite some time.
Yes. Now, it's not that they won't make electrics, but it's just that I love their term, due to global market needs,
i.e. what people want to buy.
What people are willing to buy, yes. These are not inexpensive vehicles, whether they're electric or gas engine.
Yeah.
Well over $100,000.
Yeah.
It's lovely to drive. I've enjoyed every one I've been in.
Oh yeah, the S-Class is quite a machine. That's for sure. But I think also you're going to see hybrids and plug-in hybrids considered. I know they use the term electrified. What they'll mean is, I think what will happen is that 2030 or 2035 deadline will mean every vehicle will have to have a hybrid drivetrain in some form or another.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Again, it's an efficient drivetrain. It gives you the best of both worlds. It gives you exceptionally good gas mileage.
Yeah.
So what's wrong with it? It's not as expensive as an all-electric vehicle. It certainly is more expensive than the gas, but not that much more.
Not that much more.
Yeah. So I think it's great. I think Mercedes engineers know what they're doing, and the EQS, which is their electric
S-Class replacement.
Yep. They're terrific, and they're just making some improvements.
Yeah, they are making improvements. It has not sold that well, but it will get a battery upgrade, styling changes, and eventually an 800-volt architecture for faster charging. But we're in that transition stage now. I'm still blown away by how quickly plans change. But hey, you've got to be someone that can change plans in business as the global marketing needs.
Right. Global marketing needs. Yes.
Yeah.
In other words, buyers.
Yeah, people, what they will buy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But the fact that you can respond to that quickly means that you do know what you're doing and
yes.
how to get it done.
Yes, absolutely. Let's talk about a new product that I think will do well for Subaru. It is the new Forester, the all-new 2025 Forester SUV. Of course, they kept it with the high roof line and the big greenhouse, which is something people like a lot. It is the sixth generation of their best-selling model, and it improves ride quality without sacrificing handling or capability. There's a foot-activated hands-free power gate. Price starts at $29,695 and arrives in late spring of 2024. Not that far off. It's got a couple of different models, Les. The Premium, the Sport, the Limited, the Touring, and the Forester Wilderness, which has become very popular. And pricing here starts with destination, $31,090 for the base model. And then you go up to the Premium with some more options, $34,590. The Sport, which is a popular trim in all of the Subaru lineup, $37,590. And then the top of the range, you get two choices for the top of the range. Either the Forester Limited at $37,390, or you can take it all the way up to the Touring, which comes in at $41,390 with destination and delivery. Of course, all feature all-wheel drive, as all Subarus do. Important vehicle for Subaru, for sure, isn't it?
Very much, very much. Huge seller. They're large. To me, I remember the Forester originally wasn't that large, but they are now. We have close friends that own one. Just the previous model here, and it's a great driver. It's got all the features, and it's not bad on gas. Not great, but not bad.
Yeah.
It does everything right, and that's what Subaru is famous for. They're all-wheel drive, iSense, and now of course the new one is going to have automatic detection if there's for the drowsy driver, which is man, that's important. That's happening more and more.
Yeah, absolutely. So, pricing wise, not terrible either. Right in there in the kind of the 29 to 39 range, and it will do well.
Less than the average transaction price of vehicles.
Yeah, exactly. So interesting stuff over at Subaru, and a great update to their lineup. And we'll have more about it for sure, and talk more about that vehicle, because that's one that's pretty popular with our listeners, isn't it?
Absolutely. And of course, you're up further up in the Northeast, and I believe you one of your cars, by law, you have to own a Subaru.
Oh yes, or if as we always joke about, but it was true. It was teachers and nurses that bought them originally.
Yes, it was. They're wonderful in the snow. I mean, they're just wonderful.
Yeah, it's like having that all-wheel drive vehicle without the bulk. The bulk of a body-on-frame pickup truck.
That's right. It's the automotive equivalent of a Saint Bernard.
Okay. On that note,
that's how I look at it.
We're going to take a break here on Cruise Control. We will be right back with more automotive news. We're going to take a look at Range Rover revealing its Stealth Pack, and good news when it comes to crash fatalities. Stay tuned to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine.
Cruise Control.
Welcome back to Cruise Control. Fred and I are going to let you know where we stand in traffic crashes and fatalities. It's important people know it. If nothing else, keeps you more aware and paying attention while you're riding. And as we mentioned at the head of the hour, NHTSA, National Highway Traffic
NASA.
Safety Administration,
Yeah.
is somewhat happy
Yeah.
that death road fatalities are down for 2023
Yep.
after being up all through COVID.
Because people drove like nuts during COVID.
Yeah. People's attitudes changed during
Yes.
that period, and they still have changed. Anyway,
Very
they've
aggressive
fallen.
driving.
That's right. They've fallen. Not enough, but they've fallen. 41,000 people were killed in car crashes, which is all types of crashes, that's including pedestrians and, that sort of thing. But it's they decreased by 3.6%, which, okay, that's great. That's great. But 5, 6, 7 years ago, fatalities were in the mid 30,000s.
Right.
So it's not good.
Yeah.
And did people drive more during COVID? No. Well, no, they drove less. But they are driving more now, and yet fatalities are down. So that's a good sign.
It is a good sign, and of course, there's a lot more safety features that are becoming standard, and
Right.
as newer cars come on the road that have these things, that's good news. But unfortunately, I think there's a lot of aggressive driving. I don't know why. They think it's funny, they're cool, they're a great driver, but you're not on a racetrack and cutting in and out.
No.
I was driving last night. I saw the same thing, cutting in and out.
In and out. Now,
Close.
I'll ask you, because you and I are observing traffic every day when we're out on the roads. Every day, every time I'm out in the car, anywhere, I see people running red lights.
Yep.
Blowing through stop signs. That's just a suggestion now. As you saw, cutting in and out, cutting people off.
Yep.
Not yielding.
Yeah.
At intersections they're supposed to yield at. This is every single time I'm out.
Yes.
On roundabouts, traffic circles, they're not yielding. I don't think they really know that they're supposed to.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad driving.
No signals
and
either. Signals are no longer
no,
used. And passing on the right is common.
Yeah.
So I think it is. I have always said this in New York, where there's any situation where you have to let someone in to merge, or like let's say 2 lanes go down to 1, it doesn't work because they don't give an inch. Nobody is going to give you a break or say, oh, hey, you're a little bit ahead of me. Why don't you go in and you merge in and then I'll go. And they don't understand the idea of the zipper, like interweave.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
So the problem is, I think people they want it their way. They don't want to be told what to do. They don't want to be told, don't do that. And the cutting in and out drives me crazy.
Yeah, and it's actually been tested. It has been tested that cutting in and out, you will not reach your destination any faster than if you just stay in the lane.
You could reach it a lot slower too if you get into a big accident.
Yeah, it causes everyone to drive slower. It's, to me, the only way I can describe it, and I've been describing it now because I started noticing it about 20 years ago, and I refer to it as just an erosion of civility.
Yeah.
It's just gone.
Well, the other interesting point here too is, and it's a big thing for the automakers to get out. I watched something Mary Barra said. We want to get out of anything that causes crashes, crash-free, accident-free. And that it's good. I'm sure they want to do it for good reasons, obviously, because there's
Right.
41,000 people that didn't make it home. But how this is changing, like where they tried to sue Kia because somebody could smash
Yeah.
the steering column with a hammer and, do whatever they did to start the car, and somehow that's Kia's fault.
Yeah.
It's changing. The lawyers are changing because they're going after the big targets. They're not going after someone that broke into the car and smashed the column. I mean, like, if a car's in park and you push it with a tractor trailer and break the pin in the transmission, it will roll down a hill. But who's at
Exactly.
fault there? Not the person that designed the transmission. It's the person
And
pushing it.
that again, that's another example of society's breakdown. Just like teachers and schools are being blamed for their kids' grades.
Yeah.
It's just you gotta start realizing that all of this is a cooperative exercise, and people are losing it.
Yeah. You got to take responsibility for yourself too.
Absolutely.
But anyway,
so I'm gonna invent that marshmallow gun.
you be
So
careful.
anytime I see anybody disobeying, they get blasted with marshmallow. Covers the car. and
All right.
and it may be illegal,
Yeah,
but
just be careful. They might fire back with something with a little bit more.
that's right. They may actually use a gun.
Yeah, something a little bit more dangerous than getting hit with marshmallows. But
Yeah.
complete disregard for,
Yeah.
Remember, it's a shared space, and
That's right.
the other thing that people do, they pull up tight to the back of your bumper, and it's like they're telling you your speed is not good enough. They're trying to put
Yeah.
their norm, what they want to be the norm, on you. Even though you're not in the fast lane, you're in the center lane, and you're going at the speed
Right.
limit or slightly over.
And you're behind someone else. You can't go anywhere.
No.
But
Drive the
somehow,
car and listen to the radio. Listen to cruise
Yeah.
control. Anyway,
Yep.
we'd like to hear what your thoughts are. Are people driving a lot more in your area, a lot more in a dangerous, aggressive fashion? Tight lane changes, cutting in and out. It's not good. It's not good, and I don't
And
see
we're
much enforcement either anymore.
we're not a couple of elder guys,
In the
saying,
left
"Oh,
lane, going 25.
that's right. You folks are just not." We're both high performance drivers,
Yeah,
but we tend to obey the law.
yeah, and the cutting in and out and leaving like a
It's just
foot, between
gains
the other
nothing.
car.
Gains nothing.
No. Anyway, we'd like to hear what you think. But the good news is fatalities are down. More work to be done.
Yeah.
I don't know how you enforce it. I don't know how you enforce aggressive driving. I mean, some places use cars, unmarked cars, and they just watch it and then go after them.
I am beginning to see some more unmarked cars than in the past few years, which is kind of neat. And they're just kind of everyday cars. I saw a Camry police car last week.
Yeah. Well, a hybrid model might be pretty fast, actually.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's a little bit of pontification there, but I'm sure
That's right.
it's here's an interesting article. I can't show you this yet, but it looks like Kia is getting into the small pickup business with something called the Kia Tasman. It's going to come out in Australia. and it's been teased for Australia 2025. It was caught testing in the U.S. Midsize truck. I think that means they're going to bring it to the U.S. And here's my discussion. Yep. It will take on the Maverick, and if you can have a hybrid version with all-wheel drive, everyone's been wanting that from the Ford Maverick, but it hasn't happened yet. If Kia can do that, I think they could have a hit here. And it's body on frame, too.
Yep. Body on frame. Tasman, good name. Tasmania is near Australia.
We'll see what happens.
That's the best I can do with geography. And I think we'll see it here very quickly. And isn't it funny that it wasn't very many years ago we were talking about all the small and mid-sized pickups had gone away.
Yep.
Now they're all
Cruise Control.
Welcome back to Cruise Control. Well, we told you we were going to mention the new Range Rover Stealth Pack Edition. This is where Range Rover looks more like a Range Rover than it ever has, and it's pretty interesting. It's just all darked out. It's not blacked out. I would call it like a charcoal gray, Fred.
They call it a Carpathian gray satin exterior with contrasting gloss black accents.
Carpathian gray.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's their vehicle, so they can call it what they want.
Paired with either ebony or light cloud perforated Windsor leather.
You're reading the marketing. What I like about it is that it has the black top.
Yes.
And the gray, the two-tone.
Yeah.
But the tones are very close together.
Yes.
The hood scoop, I can't quite see it in the picture. I think that's maybe a contrasting color. The hood itself is black.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's very interesting looking.
This is a wrap, actually. It is a satin protective film, a factory-fitted solvent-free option, which offers a rich and contemporary satin finish as well as scratch protection. Who writes this stuff?
And it has 23-inch gloss black wheels. 23-inch.
Wow.
Getting up there.
Yeah, although it still has some sidewall. Still has some sidewall, even with the 23-inch wheel.
It does, yes. Actually, I'm guessing those are about 45 series tires, which they certainly could be a whole lot thinner.
Wow. These
days. And it's interesting, though, that you can remove what's under the film. If you remove it, it says you can remove it.
I'm gonna say probably black paint.
Black or white maybe.
Yeah. We've seen a lot of this. Who else is doing this type of factory wrap is Tesla. They're doing it on the Cybertruck. So you buy a stainless steel truck that you don't have to paint, and then you put a wrap on it.
That's right. Now, I'm going to be cynical about this because I have said this many times, that Tesla's paint finish qualities are substandard. They have been, and all the ones they make. I have yet to see a really up-to-date paint finish on a Tesla. So no surprise to me that they're pushing the flatter paints. Again, I'm just being critical about it.
Okay. Well, I do think this is a trend, though. You're going to see a lot more of these.
It is.
Films in there, and And this one's kind of a protective film, which is interesting.
They're
I never
saying,
thought of
yeah,
those. I guess they are protective in a sense that, you can protect the paint underneath. As long as when the person puts them on, when they go to slice around the door, they don't slice through the paint with a razor blade, right?
well, that's right. Although, you're paying probably a lot of money for this
I,
wrap.
w- I would say, well, this package, I think, is over $11,000. But if you're going to
That's
wrap a car, it's at least $5,000.
that's right. So you kind of want it to stay, but but it's good to know that it can withstand chips and rock chips and grit and all of that junk that we all get when we drive around.
Yeah.
So, and then, in 5 years down the road, if you get tired of it, you can rip it off and find out. I wonder if you could choose what color you want the original Range Rover.
Probably. I would probably say what's under it and who does the installation. What do they call the interior? They have an interesting name for it. It is the
Yeah,
reductionist console.
reductive center console.
Reductionist
Uh,
design
Interesting.
with 11.4-inch in-control touchscreen and digital technologies updated over the air.
And I like this. Clients can continue the dark and moody theme with perforated ebony Windsor leather, or alternatively opt for light cloud Windsor leather. The dark and moody theme, I'm thinking you drive this in the rain,
It disappears.
which is dark and moody to start with. I think you're going to need to, you know, if worry about getting depressed in some of these if you choose the wrong thing.
Yeah. Well, therein lies the stealth idea that
That's right.
it disappears. So, hey, I have a question for you. This is an interesting article I found in a UK publication about the Grand Tour, and it says
Yeah.
that the Grand Tour, according to a TV industry uh, document or publication, that's what I meant to say, called Broadcast, suggests that the production company Studio Lambert will take over running the show from its current producers, Flat 4 Films, and will have a new lineup and maybe a new format. But the Grand Tour will continue on Amazon. What do you think?
Um, uh, well, I'd like to see it. I don't know if it'll be well received. Um, I'd like to see them do it because it's still an interesting idea, and I do go on YouTube all the time, actually on Prime Video, and see what Jeremy and James and Richard are doing individually. And I've seen interviews of all three just saying, like Jeremy has said, well, we've done everything you can do with a car. So he says, well, so I'm unfit, fat, and old. And
But he runs a farm.
James,
That's not easy work.
well, yeah, frankly, I'd rather go get dirty in a car. And James has essentially said, we've done enough. I want to do other things. And Richard has a garage, something like Bitchin' Rides, that he's doing car restoration,
Yeah.
general repairs, and
Is
he's
that Drive Tribe? Is that what it's called?
uh, well, it's
Or that's his YouTube channel?
no, that's different. It's something like the smallest cog in gear. It's like a takeoff on Top Gear,
Mm-hmm.
but it's something like the smallest cog.
Okay. All right.
It's
So,
interesting.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, they all, I think they want to break from it. But yes, Clarkson, I'm unfit,
Yeah.
fat, and old. uh,
But they're incredibly successful
yeah.
with Top Gear and Grand Tour and long running shows, and
And there's
I
one more
enjoyed every
Grand Tour.
minute of them.
One more Grand Tour after Sand Job. So we'll see what
Oh,
that is.
they're still in the hopper.
Still in the hopper. Yeah. So. All right. Well, we appreciate you listening to Cruise Control. Don't forget to check us out on all our social media platforms. It's time for me to say I'm Fred Staab.
I'm Les Jackson.
We'll see you down the road.
Bye.